All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my custom D&D campaigns set in my weird, messed up campaign setting, and the people below me are the people that I think have just finally embraced the Stockholm Syndrome. So, they're in it for the long haul. They've decided that the abuse is justified. That is a super cool mini. Cool.
Tried.
I was looking through a box from the move, and I actually found I have a Death Tyrant mini that I tried building once, and whatever glue I used was not the right glue because I had it mostly put together, and then I squeezed it slightly too hard, and everything broke apart right on the glue lines. Like the glue was worthless.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I also found out resin is highly pliable at remarkably low temperatures.
Depending on which one you got, yeah.
Because I couldn't get the pieces to fit together because they were warped. So I literally just got just a cup of boiling water. Like I boiled some water, poured in a cup, and I would dip the pieces in it for 30 seconds, and then I could bend them. So, yeah, cool stuff.
That's how people would do a lot of action figure modding. They would boil toys.
The crazy stuff when I first started. I still haven't built this one yet. But
there was a magazine called Wizard Magazine, and they actually had a section for people who'd customized action figures.
I got into Gunpla, the dude there. That's my first Gunpla model, and I have a second one. I haven't had a chance to do it because it's remarkably difficult to do with this. But oh Lord, is that an addicting hobby? And there's no glue. The only sticky stuff you have to deal with are decals. And it's just, it was so much fun to do. I want more Gunpla. I want Gunpla of everything. I'm not even that big a Gundam, a Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam fan, and yet I'm obsessed with Gunpla. It is the coolest stuff ever. I even have my brother bought me this. I have a little mini Gunpla.
Oh, nice.
Which the funny thing is, when you buy these in Japan, there's actually all of these are different parts. Oh, and I'm actually missing an arm on this dude. I don't know where it went. Oh, it's way back there. They come in different pieces, and it's literally this is rubber. So they have little holes and you plug it in and stuff like that because that's what Gunpla is you build these robots. When you buy them in the U.S., they're pre-built, and I thought that was hilarious. This little mini model in the U.S. was pre-built, and the whole point of Gunpla is you build it yourself. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think there's any announcer moments. If you're really looking forward to the Radiant Citadel, they did release the first chapter. I myself have read through it a little bit. I haven't read absolutely everything. Probably I think the biggest takeaway I can give you from it is I believe this is the first brand new bit of lore that has been added to 5th edition. Everything else in 5th edition have been updates from previous things or stuff like that. This is absolutely brand new. This is not based on something from earlier editions. This is something that they just created, and that alone is super cool. So it was supposed to come out this month because of supply chain issues, which no one can explain. They had to push back a little bit because they couldn't physically print it. But it'll be coming out in July, and I'll be doing a review of it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little worried with some of the marketing that they've done, but I will reserve judgment until I see a full product. Because overall, this will be, I think, the third or the fourth kind of group of mini adventures that they've released. And I gotta say, I'm really digging the mini adventure format for some of the, like, don't get me wrong, the campaigns are super cool. Some of them are hit or miss, but like Curse of Strahd, super super cool adventure. Descent into Avernus, another super super cool adventures. But things like Candlekeep Mysteries and Radiant Citadel, obviously. I think it was called Tales from Waterdeep or something like that. These little mini adventures, they don't tend to sell as well as full campaigns or full adventures, I think they're more fun, and I think more people can actually use them. Because running a book campaign is a lot of work, but inserting one of these adventures into a campaign you're already running significantly easier.
Yep.
So
it's kind of like a module piece where you can like take from this. You like, oh, so you guys want to go to Waterdeep this time? Okay, we're gonna go to Waterdeep. We'll run this a little bit here. Then we go away from that. Then maybe expand into this.
I mean, just I like the fact that Wizards is really doing their best to cater to a decently wide audience, because
Some people run modules, other people want to do homebrew.
And some people want new, you know, just new options and new things like that, and other people want more handhold. Like it's impressive how many different markets they've been able to target, compared to previous editions where, I mean, even if you go all the way back to like first edition, they have done the same thing basically the entire time. Is you release adventures and you release supplements, and that's all you ever did. And these little connections of mini adventures, I think, have been really cool. So, kind of harkening back to the old, like, the adventure series in original D&D, where you would have like what was it? Temple of Elemental Evil was like four adventures that were released episodically, kind of thing. They're kind of harkening back to that, but instead of giving you four connected things that were all one story, they give you these little adventures with kind of a through line, a theme. So, anyway, cool stuff. I'm excited to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And Vecna is a badass, and the stat block is awesome. So, with that, I think it's time for us to return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party has succeeded in defeating their first general of the Dark Lord. It was a difficult fight. A lot of innocents were used as human shields, some quite literally. And there was some controversy due to deals that had been made to save party members' lives. But in the end, the general lost all of his memories and was forced to wander the mists in perpetuity. Now the party is starting to head back and discover and decide where their next adventure is going to be. They've had a little bit of guidance from their favorite elderly, randomly appearing friend. And now they are making the long trip back to Middenwell and to wherever their next destination turns out to be. So, when we last left off, Remind me, were you guys still in the woods, or had you guys gotten to the edge of the woods? Does anyone remember?
I don't think we got all the way to Middenwell.
Well, technically, if you look at the map, once you get to the edge of the woods, you're still going to have a couple days journey before you get to Middenwell, where you're just traveling over, hills and plains and other things like that.
I believe we did, and I think the reason why we did, or I think, no, you know what? I think it was because we rested for the night at the camp, if I remember correctly, because I had made breakfast, group got his benefit from Chef, so I think we were on the way to Middenwell.
Okay. So,
because we were discussing the course of action about how we were going to try to get to the Demise Tower.
Mm-hmm. So, Argenta. When you wake up, you start kind of going through your normal process of getting up, starting to break down, rolling up your bedroll, breaking down your aspect of the camp, checking all your weapons. As you are checking things, you find something in your pack that you've never seen before. In your pack is a small brass coin. And stamped onto the front of the coin is a collar with chains coming out of it, and on the back of the coin is just kind of an amorphous shape. For the rest of you, you're waking up. The day is gray, as it normally is in here, and you guys can see, I would say you guys probably would have camped just inside the forest, despite the fact that you guys are getting to the edge of the forest now. You guys would have probably camped just inside the forest, just because it's safer than camping right just out in the middle of nowhere.
I thought we had left the previous camp and then we were on our way. I don't know.
Sure. This would still happen at the... I would still say probably when you guys got to the edge of the forest, you would have said, you know what, that's enough for today.
Oh, because you said the forest looked normal now. That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you all want to do?
Well, so as I'm packing my stuff up, so do we want to head straight to Midwell? And then on, had we thought just going to Klausgate?
I'm just kind of looking through my pack. Vala, come here.
Yes. Okay. I will head over.
I just kind of whisper, can you identify?
I can.
Can you tell me if this has any fuckery on it? And I'll show her the coin.
Does it have any fuckery?
How do you want to examine it? I mean, just looking at it, it's a coin.
I will I'll use my wand of detect magic.
Okay.
First, and I'm assuming.
Oh, it's super glows. It's super glowy.
Fuckery detected.
Wand to detect magic. If there's a spell affecting it, it will. It'll tell you the school of magic. This particular thing, there is no school of magic it's identifying. It's just saying it is a very, very, very magical item.
Okay. Then I will, as is my typical custom, I will cast Mage Armor on myself.
Okay.
Which
you sit there, you turn the flashlight on. Shit! Mage Armor. Mage Armor, Mage Armor.
As part of my Warlock boon, I can do that as like a free action. So like every 7.5 hours, I'm usually putting that on.
I don't believe it's a free action. I believe you can
Um,
cast it for free, but it should still
or
take.
sorry,
Yeah.
yes, it doesn't
It,
require a spell slot or anything.
yeah.
So usually like every 7.5 hours, I'm like, oh wait a minute.
Boom, boom.
Um,
You're basically doing the Iron Man thing of.
yes. So I will uh, do that first, and then I will sit down and cast Identify
Okay.
as a ritual spell.
As you cast the Identify spell, the only thing you learn about it is a name. It's the Sanctuary Coin of the Commander of Control.
So I will turn to Argenta. Sanctuary Coin of Commander of Control.
Or General of Control, sorry.
General of Control.
Yes.
Sanctuary Coin of the General Control.
Yes. Also, fuckery 10 out of 10.
Guess I should hold on to it.
Yeah. I didn't get anything else. I don't know what kind of magical powers it has. I just know there's a lot of magic there.
I will point out, if it was cursed, Identify would have identified that. So you can
Okay.
be relatively certain.
I was going to ask.
Cursed
So,
coin.
so, so fuckery 2 out of 10.
I think fuckery 10 out of 10 still works. It's just this particular brand of fuckery is not going to curse you.
Got it.
What it,
So
it's the Sanctuary Coin, that's right.
It's not fuckery 0 calories.
Yeah. it's the
this is the Diet Coke of fuckery.
Fat free.
Just 1 calorie.
Fat free doesn't mean that it's healthy for you. It just means that it doesn't have any fat in it.
People took Burger King to task over the plant-based Beyond Whopper. Burger King simply responded, "We never said it was healthy.
We said it was healthy. We said it was plant-based.
We said it was a plant-based alternative. We never said it was healthy. Never claimed it."
And it was remarkably tasty too. Like I stopped getting, whenever I would go to Burger King, I stopped getting their regular stuff, and I would only get their Beyond Whopper because it was remarkably tasty for what it was. I personally think it tasted better than the regular Whopper. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I don't think wherever I went to my Burger King, I don't think they seasoned their Whopper patties well.
Oh.
Because all it really was like saltier than it should have been. And that was it. And salt is a nice spice, but it's not the only spice.
If I was a betting man, I'd bet that thing still had a ton of sodium in it.
Yeah.
Probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because it was artificially flavored to taste like meat, the artificial flavors tasted better than the unseasoned meat that they used. And it was like 100 or 200 calories less than a regular Whopper. So it was technically, from a caloric standpoint, it was technically healthier. You paid more for it, but I think Jack Whitehall had a bit where he's talking about there are these amazing new things called Beyond Meat, where it tastes just like a real burger, but costs twice as much. Anyway, back to our game.
So yes. All I got was a name. I didn't get any sense of foreboding doom. I don't believe it's cursed, but I have no idea what it does.
All right, I'll just hold on to it then.
But that's interesting. Do you have any idea where it came from?
I just was going through my things and it was there.
Mm.
It's kind of like how I came across my dagger. It was just there. Oh, well, at least it's not a bomb or something, I guess.
Thankfully.
Whoever's slipping things into our bags is, perhaps trying to help us. For now.
And then,
Yeah, for now.
I mean, you're in a domain of dread. Finding random magic things in a domain of dread is always a good thing.
Yeah.
So, any other prep work you guys want to do before heading off?
Just besides what Rowan's been doing for the morning for the group, there's really nothing else he can do. So just waiting to see what everyone else does.
I will say, since having Relwyn to join the party, you guys have had a really nice breakfast every day.
I would imagine it's also whatever they bring back if anyone does any foraging of any kind or hunting.
But compared to what you guys have been eating, things like iron rations and maybe the random stew that you make from venison or something that you catch, like it's night and day difference. There's something to be said about traveling with a professional chef.
If I could reach for it, I would reach for my. It's just barely out of reach. My Hero's Feast cookbook.
Nice. Vala will just be like, this isn't half bad. You probably could have given my personal chef some notes. I can't imagine what you can. I can't imagine what you can do with a full kitchen at your disposal.
It's kind of better, I guess. It's kind of how I learned how to make do with what we have. Plus, I was raised by an apothecary.
Mm.
So, you all head out. Traveling across the plains is relatively uneventful. You guys do see a few kind of wandering packs of monsters. Like you find some wargs, but avoiding them is not particularly difficult, and they don't seem particularly interested in you in particular. While it takes you about 2.5 days to get to Minwell. Over that 2.5 days, there are now 2 people that have deals that they have to deal with. My question for you, have you been keeping up with your deals over these 2 days of journey, which for Vala means enacting justice against Argenta, and Argenta, it means causing an innocent to suffer at least once a day.
So I will say Vala will keep up her end of the bargain.
Okay.
As much as it pains her. And after she's done, I will mention to Argenta, I hate that I have to do this. But I wonder, does my suffering from hating to have to do it fulfill your end of the bargain?
I mean, do you consider yourself innocent?
Shit.
I guess the better question, like I think Rowan actually pops up. I guess the better question would be, if you consider Vala a friend, would that not constitute you considering her an innocent?
I have too much red in my ledger.
I mean, even if I forgave her for the torturing because it wasn't really under her control, she also wandered off and got infected by mushrooms, and then subsequently turned into a werewolf.
Wait. Let's
Boom.
look. I got turned into a werewolf, not through any misaction on my own. I just happened to back up against the wrong bush. Okay, not my fault. The mushrooms. Okay. Look, I was misguided. I thought I could burn the lycanthropy out of myself, and just happened to walk against the wrong mushrooms. Cleansing light, it's a thing. And
Relwyn, the medical person's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
look,
No, it's not. he's not saying that out loud. He's just like, that's his inner monologue. No, it's not.
There's a bit.
it's not.
I'm sorry, I have to, because Rowan reminded me of this. There's a bit that Dara O'Brien does, where he's talking about his wife, who's a surgeon. They're having their first kids, and they go to one of these, I guess, Lamaze classes type of the things. And he goes, all the information that you get there is completely pointless. You can get that in loads of different ways. The big reason that you go there is so that you can meet up with other first-time parents, and so you can create this little, group of friends where something goes wrong, and you can call up and goes, oh, this is happening. Goes, oh, that's too bad. It's basically like me phoning up one of my mates going, oh my gosh, my house is burning down. He goes, I'm sorry. How are you? Like, that's really as good as it, but it's a big thing. Well, these classes are run by midwives who apparently have some turf war going with doctors. As in the idea of don't let the doctors near you with their knives. She literally said this. So anyway, they're getting through all this stuff and they're talking, and it's like, and eventually they say this phrase. They go, sometimes women, you're going to have to make a choice between a cut and a tear. And they said, you should go with the natural approach. Besides, tears heal better. And I turned to my wife, who's a surgeon, and go, is that true? She goes, no, it's fucking not. Do you want to correct her? I was like, no, I'd have to correct her for all the other malarkey she's been saying for the past 2 days. Let's get some phone numbers and get out of here. That immediately made me think of Rowan going, no, it's not. Sorry. Continue.
no.
It's like I just remember the Shaun of the Dead is just like he got bit by a zombie. It's like, okay, I just ran it under a cold tap.
And that time I got tricked by the fairies, there was the sound of a small child in the forest.
Vala, we warned you how many times to not wander off on your own.
My pact compels me. That is as much as I can say. But no, I do not consider myself to be an innocent.
Yeah, I figured. I would, for the sake of science, skip the first day, see what happens.
Okay. At the end
What
of
is the contingency? Like Ron was asking, like, what is the contingency for an innocent? Is it a person? Is it
I honestly
an
have no
entity?
idea.
I mean, you're asking good questions. So at the end of the first day, as you all lie down to sleep, Argenta, that night, you have a horrible nightmare. In it, you're back with your original mercenary group. And you wake up, you see them standing next to the cart that has been rigged with explosives. You see I'm drawing a blank right now. What's the name of the dude that killed your?
The Bloody Fang.
Yeah, you see the Bloody Fang firing an arrow into it and exploding, and you watch all of your men get blown to pieces. You go into the forest after the Bloody Fang, and you will, as you are tracking and chasing them, you will come to another clearing with another cart in it with your mercenary company around it. They see you, they wave to you, the arrow flies, and it just happens over and over and over again. When you wake up, you have 1 level of exhaustion. Liliane, you do not have a peaceful sleep either, but your sleep, you are underneath Vala's old house. You see that strange creature attacking you, and you feel it kind of pressing against your chest and crushing the life out of you. And you watch as the world kind of fades away, and you feel yourself dying. And then you wake up to go through the experience again and again and again all throughout the night. And when you awaken, you have 2 levels of exhaustion. The rest of you sleep as well as you normally could. Did you have something you wanted us to say, Lillian? Well, it took you guys, I think, like 2 days to get out of the forest.
Yeah.
So you would have had at least 2 levels of exhaustion
Yeah.
from you.
But I do think we already have.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I will immediately wake up, cast Pass Without Trace, sneak up with a 27 stealth to Roland's bed, and immediately just give him a wet willy. I did it. Don't do that again.
I'm going to put a slight hiccup on this because my father was a chef. I know a lot of food service people. They wake up very, very early. And I'm going to say because of the nightmares, you did not. So I'm going to say you wouldn't be able to wake him up. Because
Okay.
I will almost guarantee Relwyn will be up before you if he's making you guys a really
He's a
nice
cleric.
breakfast every day.
Yeah.
He's up before you to pray and then make breakfast. So
Okay,
that's the only wrinkle I'm going to put in there.
I'm sneaking up on him as he's like cooking, essentially,
Okay.
then, and doing it.
All right. Relwyn,
Same reaction. Same reaction.
if you would like, I don't think you have a perception bonus high enough to succeed. But
My
if you-
passive is 24.
24.
So,
Oh,
yeah, beat
damn.
it by 3.
Yeah, you could.
Well, so Argenta beat me by 3.
Yeah, I was just saying you have a plus 14 perception. That's pretty nice.
I have Observant, and I have the shield the Sentinel shield.
Oh yeah, that's nice. So, yeah. So
Kira Eldrix is my patron saint.
you feel that kind of worked to appease the thing. You still have a level of exhaustion. However, you've noticed as you've been kind of using Relwyn as your innocent, you've noticed this kind of feeling of diminishing returns as you've been doing these kind of pranks to him. They feel less and less good, I guess is the best way to put it.
I'm gonna say Relwyn out. I'm gonna give myself disadvantage, but Relwyn swings. But out, not because I knew that advantage. But it's like there's no way I wouldn't swing if like someone just like in a monster. I'm
Which
just gonna play
is
unarmed.
another thing that most chefs would do. You,
Yeah.
you
15.
don't.
So I'm pretty sure I missed.
You missed, yeah.
They have big knives. You don't come up to someone with really big knives and
Well,
who works in
it
super
also
high
could have
stress
been.
environments.
It also could have been boiling something. It could have been.
And so Argenta's just like, he's getting tired of you being the
I think you might have
The
noticed also
start.
just how incredibly close that came to you. It's like, considering what the number you rolled, your stealth versus my perception.
But no, Argenta's just like, he's getting tired of you being the star of the show. We need another main act.
Mm.
I think he's holding his ladle, just like going, I suggest you start considering other ways to deal with your contract.
Poor Rowan.
We need new rubes, and I will go over and I will press to digitate his ear to clean it out.
I mean, it's just spit, so just like,
I mean, a couple months ago,
That's ju-
you were perfectly fine, and now you're dealing with torture and kids being used as human shields and daily pranks.
Argenta's just like, look, you see, the problem here is she looks at Vala, doesn't qualify. Looks at herself, doesn't qualify. Looks at Lillian, and it's kind of like an eh. And then looks at Rowan. You see, Lillian hasn't struck me as someone that's done much wrong in her life, other than she really likes beheading people.
so your logic is to piss me off until I do?
No, it's just
You understand how flawed that is, yes?
you're the only one that blatantly qualifies for this pact. I don't. I'm gonna have to think of some other way because he's not. He's getting
I'm gonna
more
say
bored.
this in the nicest way possible. Get smarter about your pact.
Yeah.
You really haven't seen. You don't seem to have been questioning a lot about what's been going on. That's even more worrying to me.
I mean,
Everything all has it all is people in general. And then I mean, we all need to eat every day.
an act of cruelty to something innocent.
An animal that we need to eat anyway.
An act of cruelty to something innocent?
Is it? I forget if it was something or someone, but
The actual phrasing is, an innocent must suffer by your hand once a day.
Yeah.
That is the phrasing of the deal.
So, idea to even go a rabbit to eat.
I mean, I can try it, but we'll see.
I mean, I would consider animal for the innocent.
With that, you guys are able to kind of finish your morning prep, and within a few hours you will be in Midwell proper. When you return to Midwell, which when you are, and you're no longer on a campsite. You were there. As you guys can go ahead.
The clarification. I said get the first day of the two.
Yeah, it
Uh,
would.
yeah, it was
be
the first one. So you
day.
had a day and then another few hours. So you've lost one exhaustion level. Argenta, you're at 0 exhaustion.
Yeah.
Lillian is unfortunately still at 1 level exhaustion when you get to Minwell. So as you guys could come in, the last time you were here, a house, a mansion got up and left. The kind of crater is still there, and the rest of the estate looks to have remained completely untouched, which is slightly strange to you because there are still, despite the fact that the mansion itself is gone, there's still things that could be considered valuables there, and you guys kind of would have thought someone would have come looting. But as far as you can tell, everything is as it was previously. As you get into the town itself, it takes a slightly more somber to the tone. You can see a few people kind of wandering around. You see a remarkable number of them are carrying arms and slings, have bandages over parts of their bodies. This almost looks like a refugee camp from a war. You can see some of the buildings have scorch marks and burns. Nothing was burnt down, but you can see fire damage. You can also see some damage that was very obviously caused by something sharp tearing into the facades. Kind of like massive claw marks and the things like that. As people kind of notice you notice people are actively avoiding eye contact. People are moving out of, are actively moving to avoid having any sort of contact with you.
We didn't see this kind of damage when we were last through here.
No. Effectively, what had happened when the mansion got up, the people themselves were starting to kind of rebel against the aristocracy that had been using the things just openly in the middle, and people were starting to kind of take charge of Minwell itself.
I will try to approach somebody that maybe doesn't immediately give me the side eye, or immediately doesn't try to avoid eye contact, and just be like, what happened here?
The first few people that you try to approach, again, will not look you in the eye whatsoever. And as soon as you try and speak to them, they kind of put their hands over their ears, and they very quickly, they'll find a door to go in, whatever it takes. You do notice, because there are still a few like shops and things like that, you do notice when you try to approach a shopkeeper, they seem unable to outright avoid you because they have a shop to run. So you're thinking probably your best bet if you want information is to talk to a shop owner. You have some choices.
Okay.
There is a bakery that actually has a window cut out to act as a storefront. That there is the baker's in the window. There is a blacksmith, which is an open air smithy that you can go to. Or there is an apothecary that is set up inside of a greenhouse.
I think I will have to go to the baker.
Okay.
and attempt to buy a dozen rolls.
Okay. As he comes up again, he's avoiding eye contact, but I hear him go, "What you want?"
I wanted to maybe get some rolls, a
I'm ready
dozen
to.
rolls or so.
Fine. He goes in the back. He comes out with a baker's dozen, and he starts putting them into a burlap sack, just kind of tossing them in.
Can I ask what happened here?
And he hesitates, and you can see he's trying to say something, and you see him kind of start looking up, and before he can make eye contact with you, you see this slight bit of pain in his face as his head is. It almost looks like somebody shoved his head down, like an angry teacher trying to get kids to read. And he just says, "Taxis."
I see.
Collectors came through 2 weeks ago.
And they did all of this.
There were additional taxes we weren't aware of that we didn't budget for. So they found alternate forms of payment. And he takes the kind of burlap sack of rolls and kind of shoves it at you. Please leave.
I'll take it and I'll put 2 gold on the.
And before you can, he kind of waves. He says, "Just go. I don't want any record of you being here."
I will take the rolls and head to the others. It would appear the tax collectors came through and took a higher toll than they normally do. I suspect it is probably because of us.
Yeah, probably.
I'm gonna offer rolls to anybody in the group that wants them.
You would
Wow.
notice the rolls seem to be day-old rolls, which again is not an uncommon thing, especially since it's still relatively early in the morning. It's before noon, so a lot of bakers will offer like discounted rolls from the day previous just to get rid of stock.
And then I will find like a park bench or something
Mm-hmm.
and start tearing up the rolls and feeding them to the birds.
You actually would notice there are no birds anywhere here. There's as far as you can tell, there's no wildlife anywhere inside this city, which is another thing that is weird. As much as this is a horrible place, nature exists, but for whatever
Right.
reason, there's nothing. Even after because again, not all the time will birds be everywhere. Normally, you put down some bread, they show up magically.
Right.
And nothing. There's absolutely nothing here.
I will Lillian, I think we should reach out to your father. Just give him a warning about the tax collectors. I'm sure they
Yeah.
are aware of it, but and I will use message
Okay.
to send a message to Leanne's father. I just want to give you a heads up. Apparently, the Apparently, the tax collectors came through Middenwell and exacted a large toll. Don't know if they're coming your way next.
Alright.
You get a reply. We'll keep an eye out. The nobles pooled their gold in preparation for taxes.
Alright.
We expect them in a month's time.
Okay. I will let everybody know. Apparently, people must.
Probably. How long has it been since we were Cornwall?
A few weeks. Like, you guys haven't been doing this very long, so we're talking maybe 2 weeks. Maybe closer to a month, if my... Because it takes about a little under a week to get to Ilmorn. You guys were there for a few days. You went through the forest for a few days. It took you, so effectively 2 weeks for that entire thing, and to get from Scornmote to Middenwell was probably, again, better part of a week-ish. So about 3.5 weeks. Vala, you'd be familiar. Taxes are collected twice a year.
Okay.
Alright.
Generally about 6 months in between, but sometimes a month shifts here and there.
Alright.
So,
I mean, there may be 2 ways that they probably been through here. And I know they were getting ready for the Cumberland Rock. But do we want to maybe reach out to Cornwall too and move them?
we can. You had
Well,
some.
Depending if it was 2 weeks ago, there's every chance they actually might be at Scornmote. Depending how they spread out,
Leon, you had 2 friends in Scornmote, correct?
Yeah.
I will,
And we are at the cars or whatever too.
well, that was a very fine detective. I just don't know if he would be very receptive to hearing from us.
Yeah, we try. What is it?
If I remember
my-
correctly, you had a friend that was a girl and a friend that was a boy, and the boy was the one that Henri effectively had to sacrifice himself for, and he ran off. But the girl was the one that killed you.
Yeah. So maybe I forget her name offhand.
I mean, these are just 3rd level spell slots. I will reach out to
The name that we all know.
Yeah.
We're going to just pretend that we know it, because I can't remember it either.
you saying girl or boy?
They're cool.
I will reach out to the girl.
Okay.
Hi, this is Lillian's friend, Vala. We are in Middenwell. Tax collectors come through high taxes. How are things there? You can reply to this, and then it cuts out.
You get a message back. The tax collectors came over a month ago. Fairly normal?
uh,
And that's
Well,
it.
okay. She said they were there about a month ago, and it was fairly normal.
uh,
I mean, we do know whatever we did here, we pissed the Dark Lord off enough that he came himself
yeah,
to fuck our shit up. He didn't bother in the other two cities.
yeah.
You're not wrong.
Then there was no general in this city.
That we know of.
Well, there are 3 other generals. We know one of them is in Scornmout. We think...
2 of them are quite.
Right, but those 2 count as 1.
Yeah.
And then there's an innkeeper we're curious about. I don't know. I feel bad for the people of this city, but
Yeah. I mean, there's not about we can do with them. They don't want our help.
right. They don't want any record of us being here. I'll look over at Relwyn. Although you aren't exactly associated with us, you might be able to learn more than what I was able to.
What else is there to learn, really?
I don't know.
Would it maybe be more beneficial to them if we just headed on our way? I mean, if our presence here is what caused this.
Right. You may not be wrong. The best thing we can do for these people is stop
Let
the
it
Dark Lord.
be.
I'm afraid anything else we do here might actually make it worse for them,
Right.
especially if we're not intending to stay.
You may be right. Maybe we just need to get some supplies and keep moving.
Yeah.
Is there a leader of this city? Or no?
Midwell itself was effectively run by the aristocracy that all fled after that when mansion left. There wasn't really a form of government as much as the aristocracy did what they want and used their obscene amount of wealth to kind of just get rid of the things. The guards of the town were hired and paid for by the aristocracy. So there was no formal government of Minwell. It was a collection of shops, and it's a crossroads of trade in Crusitalia, like Meisenford, Ebenthorn, Clawsgate, all have to go through Midwell to get to Rathfont, which is the city right in front of Castle Tormund Rift, which is where the Dark Lord lives. Ilmorn has to go through Midwell. Scornmote has to go. So literally everything goes through Midwell to get to the Dark Lord. So
Gotcha.
it's a it's a mini mall just off of the local interstate.
Yeah. And we probably I was in a bar where I came alive.
Mm-hmm.
Where a lot.
Yeah. Effectively, you guys went into the house, and that's where you found.
Alex.
Yeah. And while you were there, you had all the stuff. You found your first things. You made that pact where the Dark Lady had to enter Vivine.
Yeah.
And then when the house tried to nom you all, you got out of the house, it got up and ran off. And you guys left shortly after that, like this same day you guys were gone from Midwell. So now, to the north of Midwell, you guys did find, if I remember correctly, you guys did find that little place where you've been kind of sending all of the vampire lords.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Well,
Well, should we move on?
buy whatever provisions we need and keep moving.
Yeah.
I think so.
As you said, most people don't know of me yet. Should I get the provisions?
Yeah, probably.
I will hand you 20 gold.
Rowan, choose even or odd.
Odd.
Okay. Is there anything specific you're looking for? I'm assuming food and stuff like that, but is there anything else you're looking for?
Food, I think, within reason, because obviously Roland's going to dip into it a lot if he needs to stock up on any apothecary supplies,
Mm-hmm.
like for his herbalism kit, healer's kit, so forth. I think it would make sense to be,
I would say with the 20 gold that you had, you found most people, because they've been averting their gazes so strongly, they didn't notice you traveling with these guys because everyone is not looking at you. So with the $20 you're able to get as many food supplies as you think is necessary to get you to the next town, whether it's Scornmote or Klausgate. You'll be fine on food. And you're able to effectively restock your herbalism kit to full. And that takes the remainder of it to 20 gold. And any other,
I think if it came from Relwyn, I think from the group, I think he would also, and unless anyone wants to correct me, I think because he gets a journal, he has a pretty good passive insight too. I think that because he picked up Vala wanting to help, I think might be okay if he spread out around a little extra than was required.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he would probably take. He would definitely take steps to probably not make it as like, because he has some of his own funds as well. He could like change it out for like silver and copper and so forth. That way, it doesn't look like, "Hi, Mr. Baker, what are you doing with this much gold?"
So my question for you is going to be, when do you start doing that? Do you do it towards the beginning when you're getting... Well, I guess because it's going to change how people interact with you,
He'll make it a point to like give a little bit, not to an obscene amount, but like give a little bit extra than.
Okay. Choose even or odd again.
Odd. You know me. I'm gonna say odd.
Okay. Did you go for food or supply, like herbalism supplies first?
I think because he's never been here, he'll go for food first, and then he'll top it off when he gets supplies.
So, when you leave a little bit extra to the first person that you're dealing that, he looks at you and you see this kind of mixture of panic and rage in his eyes when he sees the extra money, and he starts chewing you out, just absolutely up one side, down the other. And it doesn't make a ton of sense to you what you're being accused of. He's basically, how could you do this? How dare you do this? I can't. He keeps using a lot of pronouns and making a lot of references to it's your fault and all these other things, but he never gives you any context to what it is you're being blamed for. And you get thrown out of that establishment, and then everywhere else refuses to speak with you. So because of that, you're only able to spend about like 3 gold of the 20 you were given. As much of that can be your personal as you want, and you're not able to get. You're effectively able to get about 3 days worth of food. For you, 3 days worth of food would normally be like a day's worth of rations for everyone, but with your skills, you make it last a lot longer. So you only get about 3 days worth of food, and you are unable to get your herbalism kit restocked.
Well, that's mostly I can mostly restock that from what we can get, what we make do over in the forest as well.
But they seem to react very, very, very like almost. It was almost a conditioned response.
That was going to be my question.
Because of your high insight, you notice it's almost a conditioned response to the generosity of what you did. Because again, they were sullen, but they were working fine with you until you effectively added enough that it would have been obvious that this was you being generous. Not so much that it was obscene, because you actively avoided that. But it was obvious that this wasn't a mistake or something like that. You were being generous because you were. And at that point, instant light switch flip, accusing you of all these things that they never but blame what it is they're accusing you of.
Would that have been at all been able to offset if he tried to haggle with them, or is he just cut off? Period.
As soon as it happens, again, it's a light switch kind of moment. As soon as it happened, no one else will deal with you. Like, compared to what happened with Vala, where people were like actively kind of looking away, this is doors slamming in your face. We refuse to do business with you. Like, they seem to be more upset with you than they were with Vala. Like Vala, they were almost ashamed. You could see, like, they would make a this. They actively do not want your business. They do not want you here. They hate you.
Rowan will come back and actually give back the remainder, and said, like, apparently if you show even any kindness in even the smallest amount, and I tried to keep that in reserve, I think they're actually. I think this is a clear message being sent to them as well as to us.
I mean, is it possible that it so is mad or something? Because we just came from a city where or but if you are more English than everyone. I mean, could it be something around those lines?
If any of you will want to, if you want to try and find out a little more, no one will talk to you. That doesn't mean no one is talking. So if someone was sneaky enough, they might be able to eavesdrop and get a little bit more information. It would require a stealth check made with
I'll
disadvantage.
fly. I'll fly.
Okay.
With the advantage.
Yeah, just because you guys are kind of well known, so being stealthy will be a little more difficult than normal.
Yeah. I'll join her, and I'll cast Pass Without Trace.
Okay. Then it'll be a flat roll for you, Liliang, not a disadvantage.
Oh, I rolled a nat 1 for 7 total.
But you get a plus 10 from
Alright,
Pass Without a Trace.
17.
And due to the fact that there are no crit fails on skill checks, rather hilariously, with a combination of you and Argenta, you guys are able to effectively leave the town and kind of weave your way through back alleys and the things like that. You leave the town very visibly. You weave your way through back alleys and the things like that, and eventually you're able to come to the food provider that Relwyn spoke to, and he's talking to another customer, and you hear them kind of talking, and eventually the topic turns onto, why are you in such a bad mood? You're so angry. And the guy effectively explains, one of those damn aristocrats came back and was flashing their money around. They abandoned us after their friend's house went away. Taxes come. None of us have the money for taxes. It's their fucking taxes. And now they decide to come back and pretend nothing went wrong. Our entire city was attacked because of these assholes that just abandoned us. And you hear plans to kind of get a mob together to hunt down Rowan and make him pay for the aristocracy leaving. But it seems pretty blowhard. And then shop talk. So this whole process takes you guys the better part of about 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
So when you get back,
Would I be able to insight to see if there were any more behind the why you better believe what was
no insight really is necessary, because the person talking to him would have asked, well, how'd you know? And he was, well, it's obvious. None of us have enough money to pay full price for goods, much less leave a tip. And the aristocracy before loved to throw around their wealth. Like that was their favorite thing in the world, was just go, oh, I can overpay for this. And then they would randomly underpay or not pay her at all for something else, and literally just go, what are you going to do? You're going to not give it to me? Because then I'm just never going to use you for anything. Neither I and my friends, and we're your only customers. So that was something that the aristocracy really enjoyed doing here. And so it came to be known, people that tipped and the things like that were... So, yeah, it was entirely the overpaying, effectively.
So even though Rowan was not flashing coin, it was like showing any generosity whatsoever.
Yeah, because everyone else generally doesn't have the money to pay full price for most things. This town literally was built entirely on effectively foreign trade and the aristocracy. You know, traders could come through and they would pay full price because they could. They were traders, and the aristocracy would overpay because being generous made them feel altruistic, and then randomly they would decide to not pay at all for just certain things to make them feel powerful. But the regular populace did a lot more bartering than they did actually paying for goods. So anyone using money is either a trader or the aristocracy, and traders don't tip because they have profit margins they have to deal with. So the only people that have ever been generous are the aristocracy in this town. Pretty good on a nat 1.
Yeah.
Pass without a trace for the win.
Yeah.
So, do you go back and kind of fill everyone else in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then we better, we should leave as soon as possible before they get a mob together and we have to do something we don't want to.
Yeah.
And I'll just turn to Argenta. Have you...
On the plus side, they're going to think we were aristocrats and not anything else.
Yeah,
Well, you, baby.
Well, I mean, we're all together, so...
we're all pretty well...
Yeah.
I mean, I just mean they saw us all come together.
Yeah.
It could be something we could address possibly when we come back. But right now, it actually might help them.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just turn to Argenta. Don't forget to steal a lollipop or something on your way out. You know, take candy from babies. Or whatever you need to do.
I'm ready.
Yep.
So with that information, that means that they react very poorly to tipping, right?
Very much so.
Okay. Who's the nearest citizen to me?
There's an elderly gentleman. Leg is in a cast. He's using kind of a single crutch, and he's kind of walking. He hasn't even noticed you guys are there yet.
I walk up to him.
Mm-hmm.
Stick out your hand. Not the one in the crutch, but his free hand.
Mm-hmm.
Put 10 gold in it, walk away before he can do anything.
Make a dexterity saving throw with disadvantage.
Alright, so because of danger sense, normal roll.
We're going to catch Kane.
Well,
17.
danger sense requires you to be able to see it, right?
Yeah, okay. If I
You
don't
can't see
it.
this because your back is to him.
Oh, okay, I rolled higher. 17.
17. Okay. So you hear noise behind you, and you hear something flying through the air, and so you just kind of naturally duck, and a crutch comes flying through the air and kind of hits the ground and kind of rattles in front of you as a stream of explosives comes away from him. He seems to have kept the gold, but he threw his crutch.
Do I feel satisfied?
Yes, you do.
I go back to Vala. That worked.
Yeah.
Is there like a post office where you can do like delayed package sending and just randomly send 10 gold to somebody in this town every day?
Oh no. MoneyGram just to piss people off.
Candygram for Mongo.
Where the people? Where
be careful, Vavala. He's gonna take your title here, or she's gonna take your title here.
Yeah.
So, anything else you guys want to do before you head out of Minwell? Okay. You have a choice. You can take the path or the road to the southwest. That'll eventually lead you to Scornmote. Or you can take the road due south, which will take you through the Webwood to eventually get to Klossgate.
I'll just look at the others and go, I think Klossgate is the way to go, but
Yeah,
what do you guys all think?
We are still intending to go to the tower, correct?
Yes.
So is Scornmote not the easier solution? I understand that. Well, that's in quotation marks.
I mean,
we
Go
wouldn't have to go through the Webwood again, and Clawsgate still has a general. We don't know if the one from Scornmote returned or if he just is somewhere with a dragon.
It makes sense. If everyone else wants to go through Scornmote, I have no problem with that.
I mean, yeah.
I was looking forward to burning down the Webwood, but, that can come later.
The Webwood also is complicated. We have to hold hands and
So,
Okay, well.
southwest it is.
Yeah, do and I also power. If it's do we want to get back further and so that will be that way.
Sure. It's just another 3rd level spell.
If you read them, oh my god.
No. I have loads of 3rd level spells. I mean, I have more 3rd level spells than I think anybody else. So.
I mean, it's not like you have to waste your spell slots on like mythical 7th or 8th level spell slot. Like,
Right. I mean, I have 5 3rd level spell slots. So, and I even have a.
Roland's just out in the forest. Blah! Sunburst.
We don't. Yeah. All right. So, I will.
What are you talking about? My spell slots were burning.
My spell slots were burning.
I'm waiting for Welwood to just go, wait a minute, you track your 3rd level spell slots?
Oh. Ouch.
I didn't know people cared about them. It's been so long since I've... No, you do you, So yeah, what do you want to send?
Just a point of order. Relwyn was burning everything in that last fight. Okay?
Oh yeah, no. All right. So, hey, it's me again.
How you doing?
Just a heads up. We're on our way to Scornmote. Should be there in a week.
Roughly, yeah.
Hope that's okay. Bye.
A durga.
Are you pooping?
The real question is, do emojis count as one word or multiple?
You to apply back. A lot is changed. Don't come to the town proper. Come to the campsite outside of the town.
Okay. I will
And as
pass
you're
that.
kind of sitting there, you receive a message. How does this damn thing work? I just talk and oh, a limited number of words. Shit. The dragon's still here. Meet me, and I think I'm losing words at that point. So
Yeah.
it cuts off in the middle of this as a sentence, but you recognize the voice of the guard captain in your head.
Okay.
You
Well-
also are aware that he doesn't have the ability to cast the message spell, nor does he seem to understand it very well, but you believe you can reply.
I'm really glad I added you to my safe senders list. We should be there in about a week. We'll meet you at the campsite.
I've not even thought about, because everything is unlimited text now. I forgot they used to have a thing where you'd be like, well, you can text or call these people, and they're okay. But anyone that's not, it's an extra 3rd level spell slot.
Right.
If you go over your spell slots, like the overage charges are just insane.
Could you imagine if spell slots operated like a data plan?
Oh, yeah.
I would love to
Oh,
just
God.
run a single game where magic was sold like cell phone plans.
I would.
Just
You-
because it would be
I invite you-
hilarious.
I invite you to go to hell, sir.
Just fucking, you cast a 9th level spell, get to the next fight, you need that spell again, take out your wallet, dump it into a portal, cast it.
I think one of my favorite jokes is somebody's like, "Oh, can't I use cast bribe DM?" And they're like, "You don't have the material components." And they're like, "What is that? $20 in a cheesecake?"
Dude, if you guys want to send me cheesecakes, you'll start finding a lot of magic items. I'm just going to put that out there now. I am very fond of cheesecake. I think for my birthday this year, I asked for cheesecake. So
Nice. Yeah. So,
cherry,
but yeah, I will.
my personal favorite. Chocolate being second.
I will relay. Well, I talked with your friend. They said things have changed. We should probably head to the campsite and not go to the town proper. And then the guard that we spoke with reached out somehow. And let me know again. Apparently, the dragon is still there, and we should meet at the campsite.
The guards
So-
also at Scarnmote?
Yes, one of the guards there worked with us. He was fairly instrumental in helping us get
He was
Liliane.
effectively, not affectionately referred to by the town as the sheriff. Because technically, the church had their own peacekeeping force,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the sheriff technically was the law that are there.
Is this guy the sheriff or is this someone else?
Yeah, that's the sheriff.
Oh, he is the sheriff. Okay.
Yeah.
He's the one who, tied us up and dumped us in the webwood. Which was a good thing,
Yeah.
I guess.
They were getting us out alive. At the very
Right.
least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, alive is
We were
subjective.
we were fake dead.
If we're dead, just mostly dead. Which actually, I think I think I'm the only member of this entire party that has not died yet.
I haven't died.
I thought you went through that thing
I
where
got-
every day
I
you're
got-
dying.
I got revived.
Oh no, you're right. I have died like 90 times.
Somehow I haven't.
Yeah, Argenta, you've died more than any character in any D&D game I have ever run. By an order of magnitude or two.
I guess I haven't died in a way that costed us money.
That's true.
Your character has
Yeah.
not been killed in combat or something like that. Your deaths have all been in a narrative.
Yeah.
But
Liliane
anyways,
is making a habit of dying.
And and
I'm just. If you would put money on it,
I have to say, Liliane, the idea of the Order of the Ghost Slayers kind of flirting with death,
yeah.
you're getting a little slutty with death here. So maybe get some Velcro, put it on your thighs, and whenever you hear, think about what you're doing. So
yes, we start heading out to Squirtmout.
cool. As you guys are traveling, it's again, sticking to the road is generally not an incredibly difficult thing. But about your second day of travel, the road itself, you can see an overturned cart that's been cut to pieces and things like that. And even from far away, Argenta, just your natural kind of tracking ability, you can see very, very obvious signs of werewolf activity nearby. Like, it's very, very obvious that they've left this here to attract more people.
She's just like, reminds me of home. Werewolves.
Mm-hmm. You actually see a few werewolves trying to hide very poorly, which is how you kind of make the connection of werewolves. But it's a painfully blatant to trap in the middle of the river road there. You guys can go off road because if you look at the map, you can see the road kind of like curves a bit. You can basically go off road and kind of cut off that portion of the road, or you can, spring the trap or whatever you wanted to do.
What do you guys want to do? We could avoid this. Like, they're right there.
Oh, I hate werewolves. You know the saying, once bitten, twice shy.
Take some inspiration for that. I like that.
What do you guys think? Don't like the idea of werewolves hanging around biting other people, but do we want to pick a fight?
I would say, again, Argenta, because of your just familiarity with it, this is not like a few werewolves. This is like 20 or 30.
Odd question, since this is a land, this is a shadow realm, this is a dread realm. Would people be inclined to leave like signs of warning on roads? Kind of, I guess, kind of like,
like rock hazard, things like that.
Well, like thieves can't almost, but like travelers know, like, if you see this mark, on a tree or something, or like this cairn on this road.
Not particularly. Most of your warnings would come from the towns themselves. They would go, by the way, this is werewolf country, or that would be the warning. Scornmote itself is kind of, because of the church being located there, and both undead and lycanthropes in general are not particularly fond of the Dark Lady, because lycanthropes are a bit of a perversion of death, because people that would normally die get transformed into these werewolves, which are really, really hard to die. And then obviously undead should be dead and aren't. So Scornrut was kind of this little oasis of calm surrounded by undead and werewolves. This part of Crucitalia has a lot of werewolf activity. So you personally would have known the last time you came through that werewolves are not uncommon here. This many in one place is a little bit weird, but it's not outside the realm of a reason. You know, some packs get relatively large. Once they get too much bigger than about 20 or 30, infighting will generally split them into multiple packs, or a lot of people will die, and that will make it a smaller pack. But 20, 30 people, that tends to be the largest pack size you'll see.
How dry is the grass around here?
There's not really a ton of grass on the road.
But I mean, like,
but everywhere
around
else,
the road.
this is, 3 steps shy of swamp in this particular area. So it's relatively kind of muggy in general.
All right. Well,
Not
my
to say
idea
it
of
wouldn't
just
catch, but
my idea of setting the entire fields aflame is not going to work. So
it smokes really well. Let's put it that way. It creates a lot of smoke when you burn it.
What about burning a rock?
Yeah, that's wood and cloth. It burns very well.
I mean, we can get rid of the rock.
yeah, but that will bring attention, and we won't be able to sneak around them.
So what do you guys want to do?
Well, I think maybe the safest thing then is just to try to sneak around them.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say that, it's the safe decision.
If you guys want to sneak around, I'll sneak around. I'm up for either choice.
Rowan, what about you?
I mean, if we can sneak around and avoid a fight, I have a idea if we need to, but it would only be good for a minute. But I think it's still I think maybe we could have it for a backup plan. I could summon a friend, and I kind of you guys saw me do this before. And they could actually be of benefit in another way. But I think maybe that could be a backup to us avoiding them. If this is a pack mentality versus a coordinated effort, and if we seem to be more aware of them.
Yeah, they haven't made any signs that they've seen us yet, have they?
No.
Yeah.
Again, as far as traps go, this is a pretty lousy one. So, generally, there would be more kind of surveillance if this was going to actually work. This is amateur hour. So, getting close enough to figure out what's going on without them seeing you was painfully easy. This is effectively the Nigerian prince of traps.
I mean, is it water to find them?
So,
I do have a question. Now, are they because Relwyn? I think Jody, you said that Relwyn hasn't been through Scorn Moat, so I don't know if he would know the inner workings of Scorn Moat.
You again, because the Church of the Dark Lady was there, you would be aware. You would at least be aware tangentially of it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So are they in fear of anyone who appears to be her practitioner? Because you also understand that there has been some corrupted information about her.
No, Scornmoat is the one place in Crucitalia where outright worship of the Dark Lady is not just accepted; it's kind of
Yes,
expected.
knows that. But do like things like werewolves? Do they fear
Um,
the people who are clearly of the church?
not clearly of the church. They fear strength. You know,
Okay.
they know clerics can do some bad stuff, including the things like certain powerful clerics can cure lycanthropy or lycanthropy, and they like being werewolves. So there is that idea of strong clerics they will actively avoid. But just someone showing, the symbol of the Dark Lady, it just means that they expect you to be going to Scorn Moat. And once you get within the city limits of Scornmoat, you are effectively off limits to them, because the church being there creates that safe haven. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So I think things like sneaking would be there, and the backup plan could actually be. I also have another thought too, but I'll keep that in my back pocket for in case we need to make it some type of show that they don't want to fight us.
Technically, going cross country would also cut about a day off of your journey as well.
so, yep. I say we try to sneak.
Okay.
Alright.
So again, because of just how blatant the trap is, it's not a difficult process of circumventing it. It requires a bit of a wide circle, but yeah, it also is kind of a pretty good indication that the werewolves in the area are going to be there. So you can be a little bit less cautious traveling around it, because other werewolves aren't going to interact with a pack this large. They're going to have a large hunting ground. So going cross country, the first day really isn't that bad at all. When you wake up on the second day, you all smell this kind of very musty, kind of moldy smell, and you look in the distance, and you can see effectively this almost swampland must have gotten a lot of rain or something recently, because there's a pretty decent sized swamp like area in front of you, of like pools and land bridges and things like that that you're going to have to cross to get back to the river road itself.
Mm.
And
Yay!
Lillian, you specifically would be aware that this is not a swampland that is known to anyone in Scorno. This would be new.
okay.
Well, should we try scouting this out to get a good idea of a way through this? I have an idea.
Yeah, I mean, my friend said that they had changed. I wonder if they are part of it, and can't believe that the railroad was supposed to be like our first warning sign of the change. I mean, if they're being proactive and more, but yeah, let's go it out.
Well, uh, amongst us, who is the best at finding their way through terrain?
Argenta just raises her hand.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty good too.
We'll be back in about an hour, and I will polymorph myself into a giant eagle
Okay.
and tell Argenta to hop on, or motion for Argenta to hop on,
Sure, I'll hop on.
and basically take off, spend about an hour trying to scout out around the swampland
Sure.
from up above.
Argenta, make a perception check for me.
23.
23. Okay. So as you guys are flying, it's a swamp. With how it's set up, it looks like you effectively have two choices of how you want to cook across it. The little land bridges between these. And you said an eagle, right?
Yeah, a giant eagle.
So, fun fact: eagles eat fish a lot. Like it's part of their diet, and so their eyes are actually specifically designed to be able to see through the kind of glare on water. So one of the kind of unique things about being an eagle is all the little pools of water you can actually see better than humans. What's actually in the lakes, because that's specifically how your eyes are designed. And something you notice is that these little bits of swamp are not like, a couple feet deep or something like that. These are effectively remarkably big holes that have been filled with water. You can't see much further than about 10 or 20 feet into the water itself. And as far as you can tell, there's nothing alive in any of these pools. While that's happening, Argenta, as you're kind of doing it, what you guys effectively see is you can either kind of walk single file and go from land bridge to land bridge, or you guys can kind of spread out and go on different land bridges, but you're not all in the same place. Is kind of the choice you have for covering this, or you can cheat and fly.
I was gonna say, does it seem like I could get like over this swamp and then back within 30 minutes, or like within an hour? Or
No way. This is large enough. It's going to take you guys walking it is going to take you about 2 days.
Okay.
Flying over it, you might be able to get over it flying in like 12-ish hours, but in no way could you do it in one.
Okay.
Argenta, however, as you're looking at all this, something about this swamp feels familiar to you, like eerily deja vu kind of familiar, and you're not 100% certain why. And then as you are kind of scouting out, you see in the distance, you see a cart sitting on one of the land bridges. It is full of goods. There are boxes, there are barrels. It is covered in a tarp. And it is almost as if it was taken directly out of your memory of the exact same cart that took the lives of your mercenary company.
Does it look like it's in the path of where they would have to go?
Depending on which path you to take, it's close enough to the kind of front of the uh, the swamp, and it's the only kind of sign of civilization that it would be something that would be difficult to ignore if you guys were just traveling through. Like it would be a natural thing that you would want to investigate.
Hmm. You just, Vala, you just see Argenta's eyes staring at that cart once she noticed it.
And once you would have noticed that Vala, again, very, it is blatantly there. And from what you can tell, it looks to be, a fully stocked cart that has just been abandoned. So,
Hmm.
like you can see, there's probably a decent amount of very useful things. You can see some weapons on it. You can see, again, barrels and the things like that tend to be trade goods. So that might be food, it might be other things, but generally barrels are a nice thing to find. Boxes can be just about anything, but barrels have a much more kind of limited group of things that you tend to store in them. They're very good for perishable items, things like that.
And uh, what am I thinking of? I don't see anybody or
No,
anything around there.
there's no indication of who left it or why. It's just, it is a fully stocked cart that would normally have been pulled by like an ox or something like that.
Hmm.
So not like a covered wagon or anything like that, just a cart. But it is full to overflowing. There's a tarp that's kind of holding some of the stuff in there, in addition to being kind of a weatherproofing item.
Um. Hmm. All right. Yeah, I'll just kind of keep an eye on its position and then probably circle back to the others.
Okay.
Then land and
I'll hop off. I know the swamp.
You know it? How?
It's like it's right out of my memory. She just kind of looks out over it. That cart, I don't know if we should or shouldn't go near it. Last time I saw that cart, it blew up and took about everyone I knew except my brother.
How was that? Anyway, stop myself. The place. Um.
As you guys are sitting there, you hear a sound that's familiar to you all. It's the sound, you hear this, it's the sound of an arrow being loosed from a bow. You see this arrow kind of arc above you guys, land behind you, and it hits something wooden, probably about 300-400 feet behind you. And even from that far away, you hear this that gets louder and louder, and you start seeing this kind of fog develop behind you, leaking from whatever has been hit. And then you see a little bit further down as this fog kind of spreads. Another one, more fog. Another one, more fog. And as you see the fog spreads, you see everything that it touches starts to dissolve. And as it spreads more, it starts spreading towards you. And that is where we are going to leave it for tonight, unfortunately. As always, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/JojoTrainerJody. Last session's episode is going to be uploaded as soon as I have a free moment. And then this one, I try to upload them on Sundays. So, other than that, again, that's all for me today. And I'll see you guys next time, all right? Bye-bye.